And we are back in South Carolina, the Democratic primary here a week from Saturday. Our guest is Senator Hillary Clinton, the Democrat from New York, candidate for president. Experience is a big issue in this campaign that your campaign has talked about extensively. I want to go back to a debate back in October of 1992 when a young governor from Arkansas was talking about experience. Let's listen.
I believe experience counts, but it's not everything. We need a new approach. The same old experience is not relevant. You can have the right kind of experience and the wrong kind of experience. Mine is rooted in the real lives of real people, and it will bring real results if we have the courage to change.
That could have been written by Barack Obama.
Well, you know, by the time Bill ran in 1992, he was the senior most serving governor in our country. He had done a lot of work on the economic and trade issues that affected the state of Arkansas. And I do think that there's not a contradiction between experience and change. I think that they have been somehow put in these opposing categories, and I don't think that's the way that we make decisions in our life. What the question is who has the experience we need to make the changes we want? And I believe that my experience over the course of 35 years of my life equips me very well to do exactly what Bill said in that clip. I am rooted in the real lives of real people. That is what I've cared about. That's what motivates me. That's what I want to do as president. And so when I go out, it is to talk with people about what I can do to help them, and it is a reflection then of everything that I have done over the course of my life as a public servant, as a public office holder. I just think it's imperative that we quit this false distinction. It is who has the experience we need to make the changes we want. And we need and want to have it happen in America, and I believe that I am tested and ready and prepared to do it. You know, we just spent the first part of the program talking about a speech and a vote from 2002. What people are talking to me about is the economy. They're losing their jobs. You know, economic activity is slowing down. We need to focus very clearly on what we're going to do to make this economy as, you know, ready to be able to navigate through the potential of a recession. We're slipping toward recession. Some people think we're in recession right now. And I've proposed a very vigorous package of economic action that I think would, you know, forestall and maybe hopefully mitigate against what is going on in the economy.
You don't pay for it.
Well, you know, Tim, I am probably the strongest on fiscal responsibility in this campaign. Senator Edwards, I respect. He said that's not a priority for him. Senator Obama puts out a lot of his policies without paying for them, about $50 billion as we have calculated. I have paid for everything. I tell you how I will pay for my health care plan, how I will pay for the American retirement accounts.
But not for this stimulus.
But stimulus shouldn't be paid for. The whole point of stimulus. Now, as we end the war in Iraq, we're going to be bringing that money home. But the stimulus, by the very nature of the economic problems we're facing, is going to require an injection of federal funding. And I would start with the mortgage crisis. You know, I've been doing events in Nevada and California, which have very high rates of mortgage foreclosure. I want to have a moratorium on foreclosures for 90 days so we can try to work them out. I want to freeze interest rates for 5 years, and I want to have a $30 billion package that will go in and try to stabilize the housing market and stabilize communities that are going to be affected by that.
But Senator, many people opted for those cheaper mortgages. They could have had a fixed mortgage at a higher rate, but they opted for a cheaper one. Should they not bear some responsibility?
Well, Tim, I think all of us should, but I'd say three things about that. The bankers, the mortgage lenders, the brokers all bear a lot of the responsibility because many of the practices that were followed were just downright predatory and fraudulent. There is no doubt about that. I started talking about this last March. A lot of people got into subprime loans who frankly could have been in a conventional fixed rate loan. They were basically told that this was a better opportunity for them. Should they take responsibility? Yes. But look at what will happen if we continue this cascade of foreclosures. Housing values are down. They're down 6%. That's over $1.3 trillion in housing values in the last year. So everybody bears some responsibility. I went to Wall Street last month to tell Wall Street they had to be part of the solution because they sure had been part of the problem. What I have proposed would begin to stabilize the situation as it is today. You know, even Alan Greenspan said, give money to homeowners so that they can be able to withstand the pressures of this mortgage crisis. I would do it a little differently, but I think that we're seeing the same problem. If we allow the foreclosures to continue, we are going to be facing even a deeper and longer set of economic problems. So I think we've got to take action now.
You say you've been deeply involved in the 8 years of the Clinton administration. One of the powers given to a president is the power of pardon. At the end of the president's second term, he granted 140 pardons, including one to Mark Rich, someone who had been convicted of tax evasion, fraud, and making illegal oil deals with Iran. Were you involved in that pardon?
No, I didn't know anything about that.
No one talked to you
No,
whatsoever?
no.
His ex-wife gave $109,000 to your campaign?
Well, no one talked to me about it.
Nobody?
Tim. Nobody.
Your two brothers proposed people for pardons and were paid money. One brother you asked to give the money back.
That's right. That's right.
Were you aware your brothers were
No,
involved?
I was not.
If you're president, will you make a pledge that your family will not recommend people?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you'll follow Justice Department guidelines?
Yes. Well, number one, I want to have a much more transparent government, and I think we now have the tools to make that happen. You know, I said the other night at an event in New Hampshire, I want to have as much information about the way our government operates on the internet, so the people who pay for it, the taxpayers of America, can see that. I want to be sure that, you know, we actually have like agency blogs. I want people in all the government agencies to be communicating with people, you know, because for me, we're now in an era which didn't exist before, where you can have instant access to information. And I want to see my government be more transparent. I want to make sure that we limit, if we can't eliminate, all the no-bid contracts, the cronyism. I want to cut 500,000 government
follow
contractors.
Justice Department guidelines
Absolutely,
on pardons.
absolutely.
Back in 1998, in a very painful period for you, beginning of the Lewinsky scandal, you said this may be the result of a vast right-wing conspiracy. Do you believe that the vast right-wing conspiracy still exists?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't paid much attention to it for about 10 years. I really don't have any idea. I know that I've been involved in, you know, championing causes I care deeply about for a very long time. And that does sometimes draw a little bit of controversy and criticism. Some of it's organized, but, you know, I'm just too busy to worry about that.
The voters who voted for you in New Hampshire were asked also who would be the most likely to unite the country. And it was quite interesting. This is what they said: Obama 51, Clinton 28. That's a state that you carried, and yet they say that Barack Obama would unite the country. Why?
Well, I believe that my record of uniting New York, of going to the Senate when people said I wouldn't work with Republicans and Republicans wouldn't work with me, is evidence. You know, I am willing to find common ground wherever I can, Tim, but I also know you have to stand your ground. I don't believe that the political system in Washington will immediately just lie down and give up. You know it as better than anybody. The interests are deeply entrenched. You know, they've gone after me consistently for 16 years, and I bear some scars from that because I have stood up against them on universal health care, for example. I'm proud of those scars because, yes, I will find common ground and create solutions to our problems. But I am against a lot of what those on the other side want to do to our country.